What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker here on Unique Access. Today we're joined by Kwame. Thank you for coming through, sir.
Thank you for having me.
And today for Best Albums, Kwame has selected Kool Rap and DJ Polo's debut album, Road to the Riches.
Yes.
Now, Kwame, this comes out in 1989, and prior to this release, Cold Chillin', in my opinion, had established itself as one of the premier rap labels.
Yes.
Biz Markie had already come out with his first album. Big Daddy Kane had come out with his first album. Roxanne Shante, MC Shin, and Marley Marl in Control Volume 1 all had released phenomenal albums and had, and MC Shin and Roxanne Shante in particular, had years of careers up to the point of Road to the Riches.
Yeah.
So that being said, Kool Rap also had released a few singles prior to the release of this album, most notably It's a Demo, and these songs, other than I'm Fly, I guess, are on Road to the Riches.
Yeah.
So as you're hearing It's a Demo.
Yeah, I don't know why they put on Fly.
It's a Demo, and you're hearing The Poison. What are you thinking about Kool Rap as an artist prior to Road to the Riches?
Well, Kool Rap is hands down my favorite rapper.
Okay.
My favorite lyricist. I think that Kool Rap is the DNA, or has a high amount of DNA in the golden era modern rap flow.
Okay.
People give it to Rakim and they give it to Big Daddy Kane. And I think that original DNA probably comes from Attila Rock and Kumo D.
Right.
But
it's not yours, it's theirs.
Yeah, exactly. But with Rakim coming in '86, he established a certain flow. Then Kane with his flow, but G-Rap with It's a Demo kind of took the flow and tilted it a little bit. He was a little bit more complex with his wordplay. And, you know, the debate of who's better, G-Rap, Kane, or Rakim, was an hour's debate. We would sit outside. Who's the best rapper? And but always felt like everybody got better shots
than G-Rap.
Now it could, you know, I don't know if it's contributed to them knowing how to make more viable songs, or just persona being a little bit more viable. But I was always rooting for G-Rap. Not to mention he's from my neighborhood, so it was like the hometown hero. So you know, it's like G-Rap could do no wrong. And it felt like everybody was getting albums, and It's a Demo came out late '86, early '87, and then you wait till '89 for an album. Like, why couldn't G-Rap ever have a first album 3 years?
Right.
Into,
I mean, similarly, but with a much different artist. That's what I always wondered about with Dana Dane.
Yeah.
Because I heard Nightmares in '85, and I had to wait till '87. For Dana Dane with Fame. And that always made me wonder. And to your point, with Kool Rap, you had to wait even longer. Because I remember It's a Demo, and then I remember with Poison in particular coming out, and I just remember thinking, like, this dude is amazing. And at this point, of course, as you're well aware, there were a lot of duos where it was the DJ and the rapper. And so then with the scratching, they had like a lot of stuff going on that made me intrigued, but then the lull came. And with Road to the Riches too, when it came out, the songs that he had been releasing were on it, and then it was only 10 tracks. But within those 10 tracks, that's what we're about to get to, because this album is, for only being 10 tracks, and the initial release of it, of course, is what I'm referring to, because Butcher Shop's not on the original. But that being said,
well,
the
Butcher Shop is like It's a Demo
kind
with
of
talking over it, and scratching.
But
what is this?
But what I'm saying is this: when we start the album off with Road to the Riches, I thought it was interesting because he switches kind of the story on there from being about himself to saying that's not me, that's not what I'm about. So for you listening to it as a young man, as a fan, as someone wanting to get into the game, about to get in the game, all that type of stuff, how did you think about lyrically what he did on the song Road to the Riches?
To me, it was just like, it just amped me up.
Okay.
It amped me up. I didn't really go into how, was it about him, was it not about him? You know, he lyrically paints pictures for me, and it was like a motivator. It's like, you know, no, I never was on the block selling cooked up rocks, money busting out my socks. You know, I wasn't that guy.
Right.
But the way he explains it, the way he drops it, just makes you want to go out and make some money, man. It's like, it's all, you know, and it's so weird because it's so funny, like listening to the album, I don't ever remember it coming out the same year I came out.
It seemed like a long time in between the two.
Yeah, I don't even remember the month my album came out. So let's be real clear about that. But Road to the Riches to me was a compilation of records that I've already heard for the most part,
right,
with a couple of new ones.
Kind of like Illmatic.
Yeah, and I like short albums. I don't like long albums, even though.
Other than Sign of the Times.
Sign of the Times.
Is a notable exception.
Yes, but I just think most classic albums should be no more than 12 cuts, you know, 10 to 12 cuts. And I know why people put 10 cuts on an album, because record labels only pay for 10 songs.
Right.
So I didn't know that then, but I did know it then because it was 1989. But for me, back to Road to the Riches, it was just, killed that Billy Joel sample, which I always wanted to mess with. I'm like, dang, man, this guy used the Billy Joel. I didn't take it as anything personal, except for just, like I said, a motivating get money record.
Okay. Now, one of the other songs, then we have It's a Demo, then we get into Men at Work, which to me may be his finest moment lyrically, delivery, style, just everything on Men at Work.
Not his finest moment, but
really?
Almost second finest moment.
What's his finest moment?
Oh, Raw with Big Daddy Kane.
Okay.
I don't care what, nobody beats that rhyme. I don't care. We'll have a fight if anybody can tell me that anybody could beat that rhyme with him and Kane on the Raw beat, which they finally actually put out on a re-release of the album. I never knew that until recently, until yesterday. I didn't know that.
Re-releases are amazing.
Yeah, I never knew that they redid that. But Men at Work is probably, if Raw is number one, it's number 1.5.
Okay.
That first verse, that 85 bar.
Yeah, it's just like.
I'm like, yo, man.
And this was also, speaking of 85 bars, the thing, obviously different worlds, but like that was always the thing about Too Short that I loved, that he could rap in a song for like 6 minutes straight and it sounds normal. It didn't sound like unconventional really until you realized, like, oh, they've been rapping for 6 minutes.
But I just remember listening to Men at Work. Me and my cousin were like the biggest G-Rap fans, and we would sit down and we would listen to it and we're like, what the hell just happened? And then we were like, G-Rap has to battle Rakim right now. So then we'll put on Rakim's Follow the Leader verse. Okay, play that verse. And he would play it. All right, no, go back to Men at Work. Okay. Who won the battle? And like, we would literally make fake Rakim, G-Rap, Big Daddy Kane battles. I don't know, man. G-Rap, that's something extraterrestrial in that verse, man. It's just, you can't.
Yeah, and then he just kept going, which to me, it just showed that on the one hand, you had, I remember they had the video for Road to the Riches, and that was the single, and we had heard these other songs as singles, 12 inches or what have you, prior to the release of Road to the Riches album. But then with Men at Work, that was my first time hearing it. So it just made me realize that there was such one of the songs that made me realize that there was such power, such poetry, so many layers to rhyme writing and all this amazing things that were going on lyrically, delivery-wise, and just style and pattern, that Men at Work was one of those records that I remember telling people that told me that rap was whack or whatever when I was a little kid, like, oh, you should listen to this, or you should just read the rhymes. Like, it's just astonishing what he accomplished.
Yeah. And like I said, everybody was trying to have the Rakim, Big Daddy Kane flow. And you know, which were two kind of separate types of flows, but you know, it was very spaced out.
It was more of a,
here I am.
It was more controlled.
R-A-W. You know,
It had air, it had room.
Yeah.
In the music there was room.
Yeah.
Whereas G-Rap was just like a machine gun.
Keep the feet to rap to keep.
It was a
he was just, man. It's like, come on, man, come on. It's no.
Well, like you said too, that was the closest I could think in a different way was the Kool D, like where he would just he would just be murdering it in a different subject matter wise differently, but same mentality. But then also with Kool Rap on Road to the Riches, one thing that was interesting was he had the songs with the women, She Loves Me Not, and then Truly Yours.
Oh, which one do you want to get into first?
Let's do She Loves Me Not.
Okay.
So that one to me, after hearing the majority of the album and getting to that, I was just like, this is the same dude? Like, what? After
hearing Truly Yours and then getting to She Loves Me Not.
Right.
I think this is what, in that time, and I'm going to jump to another record on the album. In that time, you had to have...
You're talking about Cars.
Yes.
Of course.
You had to have the love record.
Right.
And then you had to have the what you think was going to cross over record.
AKA Cars?
Yes.
Yes.
And, you know, you're trying to appeal to, I think once rappers started going on the road and getting out of New York and going down south and going to the Midwest and seeing what people were rocking to, the New York rapper tried to do that, to see, and the perfect example was because of I Need Love. Rappers felt, oh, we need a love record on the album.
Right.
I'm guilty of it. Everybody at that time is guilty of the love song.
Shout out to the greatest rapper of all time.
Yeah, no one does it like LL Cool J, man. And, you know, so everybody had their love song, and that was his love song, and it was like the thug love song. It wasn't even like, there was no passion into it at all. It was just like, but the rhymes were still dope. It was like, okay, G, got a little soft side to you, but it ain't that soft.
Right.
So.
And then how did you compare it to Truly Yours?
Truly Yours would never fly in this
era.
Second verse about the boy?
Yeah.
It'll never fly in this era. That's like watching, what's the Eddie Murphy Raw, when he just opens up with the...
He got raw.
Yeah, it's hilarious to me. It's like one of the funniest rhymes. It's just super comedy. You know, just talking about, it's like, okay, you're a jilted lover at this point. You're mad at the girl, or you're, I don't know. It's like, okay, this is your ultimate get back.
Right.
Then it's like, hey, J-Rap, talk about her boyfriend. I heard he's a homo. Right. Okay. And then it goes into all of that. It's just hilarious, man. It's a funny record.
Yeah, and I thought that was one of the things with it only being 10 tracks, that there was, you know, you had the super street stuff, you had the storytelling, you had the comedy, and then you had just the super crazy lyricism. But then with Cars, this was '89, but I remember on Dougie Fresh, The World's Greatest Entertainer, he had the Crazy About Cars record. And I remember that one, I liked that better than the G-Rap Cars, because the G-Rap, as we're saying, I thought that was sonically just a little too far. Well, lyrically, of course, it's still good because G-Rap is a phenomenal writer. But for you, how did you take Cars in relation to the rest of the album?
I didn't really listen to it. I was just like, all right, man. I knew what it was. I'm like, okay, they're trying to put you in this box. And I'm pretty sure somebody said, you got to make a record.
The commercial record?
Yeah.
Crossover.
Which was never a commercial record or a crossover or a single or anything. No. So it's like, you could have put that time into just making another a crazy joint. You know, it just was what it was, and I'm pretty sure it goes on to this day. There's an A&R, there's a production head or somebody telling you to do something, or you as an artist saying, I need to be bigger than what I am, and the way to do it is, you know, you got people that you know personally, Salt and Pepper, doing records like Push It and selling 1 million records. I want to sell 1 million records too.
Or Biz Markie at that point,
Yeah, but see, the thing is, with Biz, You Got What I Need, I honestly do not believe he was trying to make a crossover record. I think Biz was being Biz. And those are the records that blow up, that
when
crossover.
It's natural.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, before we wrap up too, I think we have to pay homage to one of the first super producers in rap history with Marley Marl.
Yeah.
Because the records that we had mentioned on Cold Chillin' that had come out and the artist he'd worked with the Juice Crew, leading up to Road to the Riches, like, I think he and Larry Smith and Herbie, I think, were probably 3 of my favorite, if not my 3 favorite producers. But with Road to the Riches, man, Marley Marl really showed a different side that, like he did, I think Big Daddy Kane sonically maybe is the best, closest example with Long Live the Kane, where he had all these different sounds and elements on one record. So for you, what did Marley Marl do sonically that was so significant on Road to the Riches album?
I'm trying to be politically correct right now. Who's Dr. Butcher?
Good question.
That's what I want to know. I think they all did a great job putting that album together. I think that there are some records that sound much different than other records.
Right.
So I always wondered, did they go to a different studio to do these? Because I know that Marley would do records in his apartment.
Right.
And I know that once that MCA deal came, things stepped up and they were going into places like Power Play or different bigger studios. So I would hear a lot of sonic differences, but I would hear a lot of different production styling that I wasn't used to Marley Marl doing on that album as well. So I always wondered what the process was going into those records. Like but honestly, to be all fair, all honest, man, I was just trying to listen to those rhymes, man. I wasn't really, I was not listening to the beats. And that's like the one album that I probably wasn't really
as much
into the music as I wasn't. And it's nothing against the music. It was just that I needed to hear those rhymes.
Okay.
And I needed a win for G-Rap. And that was the reason why I picked this album, because everybody has their go-to albums of that time, and they'll just say this, that, and the third, but they're not gonna, nobody really acknowledges somebody who kind of put the blueprint down for a lot of that modern rap. And I think that what I always wondered was, to your point, it's been 3-4 years since a single. Now you got an album. Most of the singles are on the album. I just felt that maybe more could have been done, and the singles that were already out could have been bonus records. And why not 10 brand new things? How long does it take to make records? So that was one of the things that I took away. I appreciated the album. I love the album. I bumped the album to this day. But I always wondered, like, were there a bunch of throwaway records that just didn't make the album? Or was it a situation where it's like 3 years later, yo, we got this deal with MCA, you need to put out an album, let's go.
Right.
And then you run in and you make an album. And I know that different artists have different processes. And this is the album where it was about lyrics and not about being a gangster or anything like that. It wasn't as street as future G-Rap becomes. So, and it might be the only album where it's just ill lyrics that doesn't have a quote unquote a persona.
A street edge, a decided street edge.
Yeah, yeah.
So, all that to be said, why do you think it's one of the best albums? Why is it the best album?
Because it's stylistically and lyrically influential to a generation. And it's the rapper's rap album. It may not be the fan of a lot of the regular random fan rap album, but it is any rapper worth their salt listens to that album.
Right.
So it's homework for the teacher.
There it is. Well, there it is, y'all. It's Kwame here on Best Albums, Kool G Rap and DJ Polo, Road to the Riches, 1989, Cold Chillin' Records. Make sure you listen to it if you haven't already. And if you do know it, you should go back and listen to it. Kwame, appreciate it, man.
Peace.